My name is Stephanie Laird. I live in Royal Michigan. I'm a peer mentor at Community Living Services, Oakland County. I've been a peer mentor there for about for about for about 10 years. And my hobbies include spending time with my family and going out to eat and shopping and going to the movies. And I really enjoy spending time with my husband. And along with being a peer mentor, I am also a public speaker and an advocate for myself and others with disabilities. I do live on my own. I've lived on my own for 6 years. And I just really enjoy it. I mean, having to do the housework and stuff. I don't always enjoy that, but it's part of it. So it's not so much I don't feel included, but I have had situations in the past where I deal with stigma, where people I've noticed make assumptions. Like I've had it where I can tell that people, like I said, I use a walker to get around, and people sometimes will make the assumption that just because I use a walker to get around, that I'm mentally impaired as well. Transportation is the biggest failure of all. Because I know, for example, it makes it very hard because I do use public transit here, but it's the type that I use. I don't know how familiar you are with this, but we have what they call the smart bus, and the part of it I'm connected with is the ADA service, which is good, but in order to schedule it, you have to schedule it at least 3 days in advance. So it doesn't leave very much room for being spontaneous. So it makes it very hard. Like if I decide that I wanna go to the mall, I can't just get up and go. Or if my husband and I want to plan a date night, and there's nobody in the family that's available, or even if there is, we try and be as independent as possible and not have to rely on our family. So, but that makes it very hard. I mean, we have used Uber in the past, but even that has had its barriers, because I've had situations in the past where the driver is unable to fit their walker in their car, so they've had to say, sorry, I can't take you, and then I've had to call for another driver. that's another big thing that I don't want to say bothers me, but that's another big issue that I feel like that me and my husband, when they find out, like when we first got married, we'll have been married 6 years, September 12th. So when I tell people at like a cashier or something that oh yeah, I'm buying this for my husband or something, I get the feeling and a reaction. They're just being nice, but they get a look on their face like, oh, isn't that cute? And it just, I know they mean well, and it may be a lot of it, maybe the way I take it, but it's like, we're just like everybody else. And I just think it's something that isn't talked about enough. That isn't an option. I mean, I know for some couples it's not an option because of their benefits, but I tell people just it's up to you whether you want to have a commitment ceremony or whether you want to get legally married. It's your choice. I'm not for one more than I am the other, but I still think that people with disabilities have that right. First off, the main thing I would want to do is change the law, because that's a lot of why people have a commitment ceremony. Because I don't know if you're aware of this, but when you legally get married, they cut some of your SSI. You still get it, but they cut. I don't want to say how much because I don't really remember, but they cut, and I don't think that's fair. That's not fair at all, because we're just doing what everybody else in the world has a right to do. And I will say that the reason my husband and I are legally married is partly, number one, obviously we love each other, but it's also because we felt like us just having a commitment ceremony was more or less saying to the government, okay, we'll deal with, we'll not do what you suggest, but I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense, but we more or less don't like the fact that the government is more or less telling us what to do. That if you legally get married, we're gonna cut your benefits. But if it's just a commitment ceremony and there's no actual light and it's not legal, then you won't. Yes, basic disability rights need to go to them for like a living situation or whatever, transportation. But one of the biggest ones, one of the biggest ones that I don't think gets talked about is the laws need to change about disabled people being able to get legally married. I've helped people. A lot of it I'm finding through the years isn't so much, isn't a lot of it, it's what I help them with, but a lot of it is just by them seeing the way I lead my life. I just want to say that living on my own, yes, totes of it are difficult, but I really like it. And like I said, I don't always like the household chores that come along with it, but my independence overall means a lot to me.